G-Code Travels Vlog POV says, will Niners trade Kinlaw now or keep him one more season to pick up the 5th year? He did say to you, if you have an itchy season, you can rail me all you want. Mistake to keep him. They don't gain anything by cutting or trading him, right? You have to pay him one way or another. So I'm guessing he stays one more year. I'm guessing they don't pick up his 5th year option. What do you think?
Wow. This is a tough call. How much is the option? Do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't get anything done, Grant. And I don't know what to say about Kinlaw, because I like Kinlaw as a guy, and he seems like a decent guy, and he did a couple interviews with me, gave me a lot of really good, thoughtful answers.
Yeah.
But he doesn't anchor against the run with consistency. He gives you nothing as an interior pass rusher. And I just think that if it was me, I would opt to trade him and go replace him in the offseason. And I've already looked at the list.
Yeah.
To me, you can pay big for Daron Payne, who just coming off of a career year, 12 and a half sacks, 320 pounds. In a lot of ways, he's the ideal guy, but you're going to pay a ton for him. Then there's Colin Saunders from the Chiefs, and there's Poona Ford from the Seahawks. Poona's, is the same caliber pass rusher as
well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's the next topic about what we're going to be signing at defensive tackle. But for Kinlaw, if you want to trade Kinlaw,
I would not keep Kinlaw. I would not.
What Trent Baalke did, remember AJ Jenkins? You can trade a first-round pick that you feel is a bust or needs a change of scenery for another one. Remember, he traded AJ Jenkins for Jonathan Baldwin, and it didn't work for either player. They both washed out of the league. But you could do something like that, find another player who was a first or second round pick who isn't working out, and you could flip him. Andre Dillard would be one, right? So I'm just saying, he's going to be a free agent. But someone like that, maybe you could do that. Otherwise, just say, you know what, he hasn't been healthy, give him one more chance. Those are your options. I don't think they'll pick. It's the same situation to Solomon Thomas. Solomon Thomas was no pass rusher, couldn't anchor against the run, different reasons, different build. They didn't pick him his 5th year option, and eventually he went to the bench and you didn't see him anymore. So that could be what happens here if something doesn't change. All right, let's talk about the free agents at defensive tackle. The Niners need a replacement for DJ Jones. They haven't gotten one yet. What do you think their best option in free agency would be at defensive tackle?
I mean, it's really difficult to say because there's not a lot of good players. I mean, Javon Hargrave is a free agent. If you want to pay,
great player.
He made
great player.
$30 million.
Yeah, absolutely, great player.
Got Daron Payne would be awesome. He's 25. He made $3.6 million.
Great player,
but he's going to cost you a lot.
Yep.
And you also have Ridgeway sitting there. So are you going to bring Ridgeway back? Probably. That'll be my guess. He's a Bay Area guy.
For the minimum.
Yeah. So I like Colin Saunders. Why? Because he's 26. He only made $900,000 this year. You could probably get him for cheap. He's not going to be paid a lot of money. He's very strong against the run. He's pretty quick. So that to me is already an upgrade. So that's the guy that I would have the most interest in. I think he's the best combination of talent and price that they can afford.
It'd be nice to go out and splurge for Daron Payne, but you're already spending a lot on Eric Armstead and soon to be spending a lot on Nick Bosa. So you got to find a mid-tier, mid-price, good, value at defensive tackle. I like who you mentioned. Also, what about Dalvin Tomlinson?
Very
out of
strong.
Minnesota.
Alabama kid, right?
Yeah, really good run defender. Kind of like an older, and like DJ Jones. So, that would be one guy who I think they could probably get for something like, I don't know, 3 years, 35 million, 10 million a year. It's kind of expensive.
I like him.
Yeah.
I like David Onyemata from the Saints. Who's, he's 30, and the Saints have a lot of cap problems. So I think he's probably going to depart in free agency. He would be on my list as well. And then, Linval Joseph, who's 34, if they wanted to go fill the thing in free agency, but not really fill it, I think you could get a guy like Linval Joseph. Now he's not going to give you any pass rush, but neither did Kinlaw.
You don't need pass rush. DJ Jones would give you a little pressure, but he wasn't giving you 5 sacks a season. If you get 2.
But I mean,
3.
whatever DJ gave you, you're getting less.
Yeah, that's fine.
Joseph.
There's also Kalia Davis, who's not. I mean, there's also options internally.
Yeah, Kalia Davis is interesting, and then there's
it's a position
top.
you could draft in round 6 and throw the guy out there right away.
Yeah. There's a number of guys in the draft. Broderick Martin and from Western Kentucky is really interesting, and Keanu Benton from Wisconsin is really interesting. But I mean, it's they're it's if you're just looking for a run stuffer, you can find guys. But if you're looking for a run stuffer who can also push the pocket a little bit as a pass rusher, there are hardly anybody.
Well, I don't think you need that, though, because unless Drake Jackson is going to become like an edge rushing extraordinaire, then it seemed to me that his pressures and sacks came when he was either lined up at defensive tackle or stunting from DN to defensive tackle. I think he could be in a platoon where he's the third down interior edge rusher who pairs with the DJ Jones type, Kalia Davis or Dalvin Tomlinson. I feel like the Niners are going to go cheap here. You got to spend at right tackle. But at nose tackle, it's a guy who stops the run and plays 50% of the snaps, if that. I mean, you should be able to get that for pretty cheap.
The problem is the 49ers, I don't think, can stay with Kinlaw. The Niners were the number 1 defense in the NFL and the number 1 defense against the run in the NFL. But they were like 22nd in the NFL on short yardage situations. So, they got to upgrade. Otherwise, they didn't burn them in a key moment, but it could have. Mm-hmm. They very easily could have lost to Philly, where they outplayed Philly, played incredibly well, got to like a key sequence, and just couldn't stop Miles Sanders from running up the middle. It didn't happen that way, so nobody's complaining about that. But that it could have happened that way because they really didn't stop the inside run.
Barry Baller 18 says, I want Wormley, defensive tackle from the Steelers.
Steelers, have a good developmental system for sure. I'm not a Wormley fan. I don't think he anchors against the run as well as what they're used to. I mean, if they can find somebody like DJ Jones, that's what they need. They need somebody who's really, really not just strong, but functionally strong.
It's really hard to play D tackle in this scheme, this wide 9 scheme, because you're on your own. You're getting double teamed, and you really got to be able to hold up. It's hard.